Hey guys, coming to you from Southern Pines, Casa Johnstone. This morning, it's kind of warm here and quiet, with exceptions of some bagpipes I hear. Can you hear it? Coming from the Catholic cemetery next door. Means we probably lost another veteran. Thank you for your service. Anyway, I'm having my morning BM, and that's something that I think should be considered for everybody to have a good BM to start the day off. It's most important. Um, the color of the BM is really important. Um, it's very important to use proper ingredients to make the color of a BM correspond with the aromatic effect. From going forward, especially for you guys finishing your residency, I recommend starting the day with a good BM. So I want to say here's to you guys that are graduating this year. Always remember that Worcestershire will help get the color that you want, and lemon juice will add to the flavor, and you can always garnish the texture with vegetables, and some people put shrimp on. I don't like that, but anyway, have a good BM. I'm sorry I can't be there. Of course, it's typical practice, and I apologize, but it fell on Father's Day weekend, and I'm going to see my 85-year-old dad this afternoon. I had to work around his schedule because he's got 3 dates tonight, and so I had to work around his schedule. But anyway, your class, Hildner, Bersani, Bell, and Berrigan, when you guys came in, you turned this residency program upside down. And by that, I mean the interns became the chiefs, and the chiefs became the interns almost overnight. I mean, you guys are so damn cocky. I just, I don't know. There's a spectrum, though. It's not all of you are on the Hildner cocky scale, but you know, you got on the positive cockiness scale, you've got Hildner, and she's pushing the limits. And then in the middle, you've got a Bell and a Berrigan, and thank God for Nikki Berrigan. She kind of offsets the chappiness of you three that are almost knocking the scale off of this cockiness. So going forward, I would I would recommend that you, like a BM, blend your personalities and your cockiness and your get along wellness and your niceness, because going forward, when you start out, cockiness is not a good trait to have. And Hildner, I'm worried about you. Which brings me to the individual part of this now, and since I mentioned Hildner, I'm gonna stay on you because you guys were so easy to do. I had material the first week you were here, all of you. My producer had to trim it down because he said we'd have to get a FCC license if we broadcast something that long. But anyway, actually it's a she, my wife, and she's also cut out some words this year. But anyway, Hildner, it doesn't go without saying you're really confident in yourself. I think you're smart, and there are only a few things that make me really gut laugh. But one is when you decided that your mission trip was going to be in Guatemala and Chichicastenango with Dr. Heidi Bell. And we spent a week there doing lots of good surgery, and you finally listened to me instead of arguing with me, and I think you did learn a few things about vaginal surgery. But one thing I still don't think you understand, and to this day I believe that, and that's, you don't eat street meat when you go to third world countries, because your whole intent and purpose when we got there was eating street meat. And I don't know when you did it. You snuck out one day and you must have lapped up as much as you could, because even though you went with me to Mass on Ash Wednesday in a church without a roof, you were sick as hell, and I had to cart your sick ass all over this globe to get you back to Wilmington so that you could go to work the next morning. I got you back here at 3 a.m. or there, sick as hell, and I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I was your traveling doctor, taking care of you, your sorry sick ass. So going forward, when you show up in Denver, and somebody tells you not to eat the street meat, will you please pay attention? All right, on the other end is Nikki Berrigan. And Berrigan, you got to cut out the braids and the hair and those color coordinated socks and clogs and all that stuff. I mean, it's cute and everything, but let's get serious here. You do balance out the class, and you're very sweet, and you're very nice, but you need to get a little bit of Hildner and mix it in with your personality, because I don't want those Oregonians to run over you. I want you to have some oomph when you show up in Oregon. And so take just a little bit, a pinch of Hildner, and try that. Don't overdo it though. Don't overdo it. You've always amazed me. I remember you went camping with your husband up in the mountains of North Carolina. We were talking about it. Hold on, I want a sip of the BM. And they had seen bears in this area, and it was mating season. It was early. I think it was very cold. And I suggested you not go. I've done the outdoors thing. I love it. It's great to be in tune with nature and sleeping outside and surviving on the land. I mean, you do it when you go over to Masonboro. I don't even know if you use a tent. And my greatest fear is, I'm gonna turn on the Discovery Channel and see Naked and Afraid in Corvallis, and you and your husband are gonna be in there. Oh my God, I may quit watching that channel. Anyway, be careful. Oregon rations health care. So when Medicaid and Medicare deny a procedure, remember they're rationing, they're saving money, but the way they save money is not to pay doctors too. So, uh-oh. Dr. Bersani, you're a pretty good mix of the cockiness and the humble side of the scale, but you're definitely on the cocky side. You kind of weigh it on that side, but you get it honestly. I think. I mean, you grew up in rural upstate New York. It's rugged in the winter, and you went to a second-rate university in Syracuse, and I guess you have something to fight for. Anyway, I think you're going to be fine in Beaufort. Remember that there's a BEAUFORT North Carolina and a BEAUFORT South Carolina. When you cross the state line into South Carolina, it's Beaufort, and when you come into North Carolina, it's Beaufort. So let's not forget that. But for the life of me, I can't figure out one thing, and I don't know. Maybe I'll go to my grave not knowing the answer. But why in God's name would you take your husband's name as your last name when you had a last name that was perfect for a gynecologist? I just don't understand. That is such good marketing. I mean, wow. Dr. Bush, gynecology. That's all you'd have to put on the sign. That's it. Belle, you came to town. I remember interviewing you. You came to town and you were blowing smoke up everybody's skirt. This is where I'm coming. This is where I want to be. Why would a young lady from the Midwest plains of, the breadbasket of North America want to come to the coast? Well, I understand that, but you kind of like fish out of water here. But I guess you've, made a spot for yourself here on the East Coast, and obviously you love it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be going to the Queen City of Charlotte. And I think that'll be a good move for you. But during your interview, you talked about learning how to cook. I cook, and I've been cooking this morning. Some Lithuanian food, I think it was Lithuanian, that your grandma had taught you in Nebraska or Indiana or somewhere, wherever the hell you're from. And you said you'd cook some, and lo and behold, it was probably about the second year before you did. But let me tell you what, that was the worst tasting dish pan, watered down potato, whatever that was, I've ever put in my mouth. It was all I could do to swallow it. I had to order out when I got back to my call room because, holy moly, if that's what they eat in Lithuania, well, I'm not even gonna say it, but I think you need to work on those cooking skills and probably stick to some, Eastern North Carolina barbecue or burgers or something like that. Don't show up in Charlotte and offer to prepare Lithuanian food for your practice, because your time there may be short. But if they do, just make sure they have a good BM with that food. So anyway, it's not usually my style to include an intern in the chief roast, but unfortunately this year it's necessary as we say goodbye to Colin. Colin, you've been a great addition to our program, and sorry you had to go, but I think going to Wake Forest is a good move for you. I've already talked to them up there about what they need to do and what they need to work on for you, and I think we got those bases covered. I would ease up on the koala thing. It's a little out there, son. With your conservative background and your beliefs and your ideals, it just doesn't fit. Not koala, maybe something like, a donkey or a jackass or something like that. It might work a little bit better for you, I think. But let me tell you, I've warned them that of your practice of leaving clinic when your patient list is done, whether it be 3 o'clock or 4:15. And I told them, I've tried to break you, but I can't. So they stand warned, and they're going to be watching you. So I recommend, you take it easy on that and learn to help finish clinic, so that everybody can leave at the same time, including the attending. It might serve you well in the future. All kidding aside, guys, it's been great to have you here. I think you've all done well, and you all show great potential, and just some advice going forward. And this is for Dr. Bush and Dr. Hillner, and that's maybe get on the better side of the nurses, because believe you, ladies, they can make or break your call night. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I would also try to not segregate myself from others to get involved in your practice, and even the stuff that you don't like, such as business part of the practice, because the more you learn about the details and the nuts and bolts of the business of medicine, the better off your collections will be, and therefore your take-home pay. So that's what's important. And I rap on you guys all the time, not just you, but everybody, about doing a physical exam. And yeah, they're not always appropriate, but be careful with your coding, because if you code a 99214 and you haven't done a physical exam, at least a pelvic exam, which is why that patient is there, for a referral from an outside doctor, you can't. You're going to have to down code that, because part of it is an exam that includes your area of specialty. You've heard me say this before. That anyway. That's all the advice I'm going to give you. Just remember our phone numbers. Don't hesitate to call us. Todd, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. And I hope you guys have fun. All the fathers have a great Father's Day tomorrow. And I'm going to sign off now and go have another BM. Y'all try one too.